The top 15 foods for heart health are extremely important, especially in today's world. There are so many sudden heart incidences, with younger people experiencing more heart instances. It is a whole other story why that is happening, but we have got to take care of our hearts. Sudden heart issues can be devastating, leading to hospitalization, inflammation, and major surgeries. Let's break down the top 15 foods. Number 15 is controversial right out of the gate, but the research shows it is true. Sea salt. Salt is actually very important for heart health. In fact, a study involving a couple 100 million people found those that have a very low salt diet were at high risk of having strokes and heart attacks. Those that had a very high processed salt diet were at a much higher risk for having heart attacks and strokes. However, those that had a moderate proper sea salt, real salt, diet excelled and had fewer heart attacks and fewer strokes. This is significant. We need electrolytes, which means we need proper salt. Table salt or sodium chloride is toxic. Real salt, such as Himalayan or Celtic sea salt, is very good for the body. We need electrolytes including potassium and magnesium, let alone calcium and chlorine. They are super important for heart health. We need the electrolytes. Number 15, right out of the gate, is sea salt. Number 14 is drinking green tea. That might be the drink of choice, especially if it is heart problem related. It is chock full of antioxidants. With a cup of green tea, you get polyphenols and catechins. Now these prevent cell damage, reduce inflammation, which is huge, and protect the heart. A study showed that drinking green tea actually helps to increase leptin, burning fat more efficiently, but it also reduced LDL cholesterol. That is interesting. Another review from a study perspective shows that it also helps aid in reducing blood pressure. So, number 14, drink some green tea. Natural and organic is better. Number 13 is olive oil. Packed with antioxidants, this helps relieve inflammation. Now, do not make olive oil bad by heating it too hot. If you smoke olive oil, you have got to throw it out and start over again, because you just damaged all the good stuff. This is a big mistake. We cannot heat it too hot, only very low heat. It is best used on salads or in mixed salads, like a broccoli salad. It is rich in monounsaturated fatty acids. Many studies show a direct correlation between olive oil and its lowering the risk of heart disease. In fact, one study involved 7,216 people. It found a 35% lower risk of developing heart disease by consuming olive oil on a regular basis. So, when you are consuming olive oil, you are getting a lot of those extra antioxidants, which is very helpful for inflammation in the body, but it also lowers blood pressure. Olive oil is the oil of choice for heart health. Number 12, garlic. It is so good for the heart, especially the extract of garlic. Studies on it are fantastic at helping to lower LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, and helping to level out the lipids. Studies also show that over a 24-week period, it can help reduce blood pressure as well, and it completely prevents build-ups. This means it is going to reduce stroke risk. Getting garlic in is super good for the body. It can be mixed in with veggies when cooking, or added as a seasoning as much as possible. Alternatively, one can take the aged garlic extract properly in a supplement form. Garlic is excellent for heart health. Number 11, chia and flax seeds. These little friends can be used all the time. They can be put into smoothies or used to make chia seed pudding. Flax itself is an excellent source of plant-based omega-3s, offering lots of benefits in the body, especially when it comes to cardiovascular risks and also cancer. It helps gastrointestinal health and lowers the amount of inflammation in the body. It is very heart-friendly. Chia seeds are also the same. Preliminary studies on them found that chia seeds actually help to lower triglyceride levels and help boost beneficial HDL. These are excellent sources of plant-based omega-3s. It is best to get them in their full seed form. When you start messing with the oil, it can get a little dicey because flaxseed oil can go rancid very quickly. Chias can be absolutely delicious, especially as a dessert. So check out those seeds for heart health. Number 10. Almonds. Assuming you are not having a sensitivity to them, eating raw almonds is key. This means in a raw form, not cooked in bad, rancid oils, and not doused in sugar, just raw almonds. If you even want to soak them overnight, you can sprout them as well for even more nutrient benefits. One study showed 48 people who had high cholesterol ate 1.5 ounces, that is 43 grams, of almonds daily for just 6 weeks. They reduced their belly fat levels and their LDL cholesterol levels, two big risk factors for heart disease, just by eating some almonds. They are associated with increasing HDL in certain studies, and they prevent plaque buildup. Chock full of nutrients, they are an excellent source of magnesium, which is going to be very heart healthy. It is also going to be thermogenic, which means it is going to burn up fat inside of your body and support your muscles, with the heart being the most important muscle. Get some almonds in. Number 9, tomato. Assuming you do not have any sensitivities to nightshades, enjoying some tomatoes is a great choice. Low levels of lycopene, which is found very high in tomatoes, are linked directly to an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes. If lycopene levels are down, there is a higher risk. Increasing tomato intake increases lycopene levels, and it has a positive effect on the lipids inside of the blood pressure levels, and the endothelial function, which is controlling your blood vessels. Another study in women who were overweight found that eating 2 raw tomatoes 4 times a week increased their levels of HDL, their good cholesterol. If you are getting them out of the garden, they might be coming hand over fist, especially during the summertime. Lean into that. It is very heart healthy. The best way to eat them, perhaps, is to encompass 2 of these items, slice them, and put on some sea salt and a little bit of pepper. Both of those, the sea salt and the tomato, are very heart healthy. Number 8. Dark chocolate. Chocolate lovers can lean in a little bit. Dark chocolate itself is packed full of antioxidants. It is all the other stuff that is put in there that is the problem. You need to be picky. If you get it, like coffee, in a more organic form, you are going to eliminate a lot of the chemicals and things associated with it. Then you are going to get all those good antioxidants, and studies show these are very heart healthy. In fact, consuming chocolate in moderation, less than 6 servings a week, one cannot overdo this, as moderation might be different for different people, actually decreases your risk of coronary heart disease. So take advantage of the antioxidants and the flavonoids found in real chocolate and get a little heart benefit on the side. Number 7. Beans. Beans are fantastic, with so many different benefits. If you are eating them, you are getting some carbs, but you are also taking in so much good fiber that is going to have a negative effect on blood sugar. It helps to keep it stabilized, which is very important for preventing type 2 diabetes, which is one of the number 1 predictors of forming into heart disease. A study was done involving 16 people. They found eating just pinto beans, or the bean of your choice, reduced blood triglyceride levels and LDL cholesterol. It has an impact on that. Another study found that a diet high in beans significantly reduces LDL, bad cholesterol. Because of the impact it has on the lipids and blood sugar levels, beans should absolutely be in the diet of someone trying to prevent heart risk factors, or a bean protein as well. Number 6. Walnuts. Walnuts should be a superfood. They are a great source of fiber, lots of micronutrients, and a great source of magnesium, copper, and manganese. These are micronutrients that we just sometimes really lack, which can be creating problems. They just show that they can help protect against heart disease because they have so many antioxidants. There was one big study they did in 2009 on 365 people that showed diets supplementing with walnuts led to greater decreases in LDL and cholesterol levels. You can see a theme. A lot of these nuts and these foods really have a big impact on the cholesterol problems that plague many people. They are just chock full of good sources of nutrients and omega-3s. They are anti-inflammatory, and it only takes a couple to get the nutrients in. Number 5, avocado. Avocados are a superfood with so much goodness, especially when it comes to your heart. One study looked at 3 cholesterol-lowering diets in 45 people who were overweight and obese. One of the test groups consumed 1 avocado every single day. When they looked, the avocado group reduced their LDL cholesterol, including lower levels of the small and the big LDL. That is the key disclaimer there, because small particles are what get you in trouble. If you have a high LDL, you need to measure the small particle sizes. It significantly reduces heart disease risk when you can lower the smaller LDLs. To get those down, eat avocados. Avocados are really rich in potassium and magnesium. Potassium is a big, heart-healthy electrolyte, and many are deficient in it. 1 avocado supplies 975 milligrams of potassium, which is 28% of the amount needed during the day. 1 avocado, that is super heart-friendly. It is going to help pull fluid off of the body. 4.7 grams of potassium per day can decrease blood pressure, on average, 8 points. That means a much lower risk of strokes, just from eating avocados. Number 4, berries. Blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries are excellent because they are low on the glycemic scale, so they do not spike blood sugar levels, and they are absolutely packed with nutrients. They are loaded with antioxidants that protect against the oxidative stresses and the inflammation that damages our body, including the damage done to our heart. A lot of studies back this up. One study with 33 adults with obesity showed that when they consumed just 2.5 servings of strawberries for 4 weeks each day, it significantly improved their insulin resistance and their LDL cholesterol. Just strawberries put into their diet. Another study found that eating blueberries daily improved the function of the cells of the blood vessels, helps control blood pressure, and prevented blood clotting. Just from blueberries. Simply putting these in has an impact on LDL, an impact on blood pressure, an impact on BMI, and an impact on levels of inflammation. So if you are seeing that your C-reactive protein levels, your inflammation level, are up, or you have artery problems, blood pressure problems, or cholesterol problems, add berries to your daily regimen, either in a smoothie or eaten straight up. Number 3 comes with a disclaimer. Whole grains. A lot of times, grains get us in a lot of trouble. We eat way too many carbohydrates, but oftentimes the way we consume grains is with bad fats. It is important to compare these two and understand good versus bad fats. We must increase the amount of omega-3s in our diet, seeds, good fish oils, and lower the amount of omega-6s, bad seed oils. Then we start to level out the inflammation, and we do not want to add more of that in by eating too many carbs in the form of crackers, breads, and tortillas. These are loaded with bad fats and bad grains. But if we are going to add grains back in, they need to be whole grains. This means whole grain wheat, sprouted wheat, or a whole seed bread where it is the whole seed, the whole grain, which has all the nutrients. What it comes with is not stripped down to white bread. It has got all the fiber and all the nutrients in it. Those can be beneficial. They do not have as much impact on carbohydrates and blood sugar levels because you get the fiber, so that helps to offset that. Studies have shown that putting whole grains in does have an impact on heart disease risk, up to a 22% reduction, but it has got to be that whole grain form. If you are having pasta, a lot of times it is better to go with the bean form. But if you are having bread, Look for a whole-seeded bread or a whole grain bread that has got a lot of protein and fiber and omega-3s along with it. That is what you are looking for. Stay away from the oils in the bread or in the grain. If you are going that route, they can be beneficial and very heart-friendly. Just proceed with caution. Number 2, veggies. Green leafy vegetables like spinach, kale, and collard greens are excellent sources of a lot of different vitamins, like vitamin K, which can help with the blood clotting side of things. If you are on a medication for that, you do not want to overdo it, but you can still have some. They are really good in nitrates, which are shown to reduce blood pressure. They help with that arterial stiffness, especially the older you get. Nitrates help produce arteries that are a little bit softer and more pliable. This lowers blood pressure and helps the lining of the blood vessels. Even some studies show that there is a link between an increased intake of leafy greens and those vegetables, and lowering heart disease risk. One does not necessarily need to overdo these, but you can simply add a handful to a smoothie. Suddenly, you are having spinach and kale for breakfast. Increasing the amount of leafy vegetables showed a 16% lower incidence of heart disease rates. Studies also show that when you increase the amount of vegetables in your diet, you are lowering coronary artery disease risk too. So add in the leafy greens, perhaps through powders or with actual handfuls of spinach or kale in smoothies, as an easy way to do it. Let's go to number 1. Number 1, by far the king of heart health from a nutrients and food perspective, is fish and fish oil. A researcher back in the 1960s started to study populations around the world. He went to the indigenous communities of the Inuit and studied them for several weeks. He found that their risk of heart disease, cholesterol problems, blood pressure problems, and stroke risks was significantly lower than what was going on in America. He wanted to know why. He started to analyze their blood, and he found that their diet was very high in a newly found compound, which he found out to be omega-3s. They were eating mostly fish and fish fat all the time, and that fish was making their blood a different composition, which was significantly lowering their risk of heart disease. He came back and started studying it, and that is how omega-3s were discovered. A concentrated type, higher amounts, a very pure, clean, concentrated omega-3 in your blood correlates to a lower heart disease risk. You can do this by eating salmon, mackerel, sardines, and tuna, which are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. The acids from the fish protect the vessels and the heart from developing cardiovascular disease and arrhythmias. This is very powerful. Another study showed that, short-term, using fish oil or eating fish lowers total cholesterol, total blood triglycerides, fasting blood sugar, and systolic blood pressure. This is quadrupling up. If you do not love fish, as many people do not eat as much of it or not enough to get the impact, then you supplement with it. Even the supplement form has tons of studies on it to lower and reduce triglyceride levels, improve arterial function, improve brain health, and decrease blood pressure. All are massive impacts on blood flow and heart health. It is the number 1 nutrient to get in for the heart. While incorporating these 15 superfoods is a critical step, achieving true cardiovascular wellness also involves understanding what to reduce or eliminate. Protecting the heart is not just about addition, it is equally about subtraction. Certain items commonly found in the modern diet can actively work against the benefits of the healthy foods previously mentioned, promoting the very inflammation and arterial stiffness we seek to avoid. Recognizing these detrimental components is just as important as consuming nutrient-dense foods. First, let's address the fats that do not serve heart health, beginning with highly processed seed oils. Oils such as soybean, corn, cottonseed, safflower, and canola oil are incredibly prevalent. They are found in nearly all processed foods, from salad dressings and baked goods to crackers and chips. They are also the primary oils used in most restaurant fryers. The core issue lies in their chemical composition, which is overwhelmingly high in omega-6 fatty acids. While the body does need some omega-6, the modern diet provides it in an extreme imbalance, often at a ratio of 20:1 or even 30:1 against the anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids. This severe imbalance is highly pro-inflammatory. This chronic, systemic inflammation can damage the delicate lining of the arteries, the endothelium, creating the foundation for plaque buildup and subsequent cardiovascular events. Next is the pervasive issue of refined sugars and, specifically, high fructose corn syrup. These are not just empty calories. Consuming excessive sugar, particularly from sweetened beverages, pastries, candies, and even many healthy yogurts, places an enormous metabolic burden on the body. The liver is forced to convert this excess fructose into fat, which leads to a direct increase in blood triglycerides, a major lipid risk factor for heart disease. Furthermore, this constant sugar influx promotes insulin resistance, the precursor to type 2 diabetes. As noted earlier, type 2 diabetes is one of the single greatest predictors for developing heart disease. This process also contributes to inflammation and oxidative stress, directly harming the heart and blood vessels. We must also discuss artificial trans fats, often listed on labels as partially hydrogenated oils. While their use has been significantly reduced in recent years, they have not been completely eradicated. Consumers must be vigilant, as food labeling regulations in some areas allow products to be labeled as 0 grams of trans fat if they contain less than 0.5 grams per serving. These artificial fats are uniquely damaging. Studies have consistently shown they do two things. They raise the bad LDL cholesterol and, just as harmfully, they simultaneously lower the good HDL cholesterol. This dual action effect is devastating for arterial health and should be avoided completely. This leads to the counterpart of number 3 on the food list, refined grains. While whole, intact grains can be beneficial, refined grains have the opposite effect. This category includes white bread, white rice, most breakfast cereals, pastries, and white flour pasta. The refining process strips away the fiber-rich bran and the nutrient-dense germ. What remains is the starchy endosperm, which the body digests very rapidly, almost as quickly as simple sugar. This spikes blood sugar and insulin, contributing to the same metabolic dysfunction, inflammation, and heart disease risk as refined sugars. Finally, another category to approach with caution is processed and cured meats. This includes items like deli meats, bacon, hot dogs, and sausages. The concern here is twofold. First, they are often loaded with sodium, and not the beneficial mineral-rich sea salt mentioned at number 15, but processed sodium chloride, which, in excess, can contribute to hypertension. Second, the preservatives, such as nitrates and nitrites, used to cure these meats can convert in the body into compounds that increase oxidative stress and inflammation. Ultimately, the journey to robust heart health is a holistic one. The powerful benefits of avocados, berries, and fish oil can be maximized when they are not in a constant battle against inflammatory and processed ingredients. By consciously reducing these detrimental items, you create an internal environment where the heart can truly thrive.